All right, now we're going to write equations for linear equations. So linear equations is just equations with no exponents on your variable. So there's going to be straight lines. So when given a slope and a y-intercept, we're just going to plug in the numbers for the missing values m and b in our y equals mx plus b format. So as you recall, we have y equals mx plus b. When given a slope, we're going to put that number in for m, and when given a y-intercept, we're going to put that number in for b. So if your slope is 2, we're going to put a 2 in for there, and your y-intercept is 7, we're going to put a 7 in for there, and your equation is just y equals 2x plus 7. What? That's it. Try the next one. If we're given a slope of 10 and a y-intercept of negative 3, we're just going to put the 10 in for m and the negative 3 in for b. So we have y equals 10x. Instead of putting a plus, I'm going to put a minus 3. Oh no, then we get to fractions. Don't let them scare you. We're just going to use the same slope and y-intercept. So m is slope, b is y-intercept. So I'm going to say y equals 2/3 x minus 5/2, and be done. I know, don't get that one wrong, right? All right, so let's write an equation given a slope and a point. Note, in order to write an equation for a line, you must have a slope and a y-intercept. Remember when we had those two things, how easy it was. So we're going to find it first, then write your equation. Write an equation for a line that has a slope of 4 and goes through the point 5, negative 1. If we have a slope, great. We have a slope, and we don't have a y-intercept. But all you need is a slope and a y-intercept to form that line. So let's find the y-intercept. I'm going to, oops, my bad, move those over here. In order to find the y-intercept, I'm still going to just use the equation y equals mx plus b. Since I have the slope, it's 4, I'm going to put a 4 in for slope. Then I'm like, wow, I need a y, a x, and a b. Since I'm given a point x, y, first I'm going to find out whether the y-intercept is already given to me. And the way I can tell that is if x is 0, then that's the y-intercept. It is not given to me. So I am given an x, which is 5, so I'm going to put that in for x. And I get a y, which is negative 1, so I'm going to put that in for y. And then I'm going to solve for b, and I'll have my m and my b. So when I solve for b, I have negative 1 equals 20 plus b. And I need b by itself, so I'm going to subtract 20. And I get negative 21 equals b, which is great, because now that I have negative 21, I have an m and I have a b, and remember you can write your equation then. Y equals m, which is 4, x minus 21. What? Now you try the next one. When you're done, come on back. All right, write an equation that has a line. Write an equation for a line that has a slope of negative 6 and goes through the point negative 2, 4. I know that if I find an m and a b, I can write my equation. Well, let me not do that prematurely. So I've given an m, which is negative 6, so y equals mx plus b. I'm going to put a negative 6 in for m. And my points x, y are going to be negative 2 and 4. And then I'm going to solve for b. So 4 equals, negative and a negative is a positive. And then I'm going to subtract 12 from each side to get b by itself. So now I have a b, which is negative 8. And oh no, I forgot to write what my m was. So I go back up here and it says slope is negative 6. And now I can write my equation. Y equals negative 6x minus 8. Ta-da! Oh, write an equation given 2 points. Note, in order to write an equation for a line, you must have a slope and a y-intercept. So find the first, then write your equation. Write an equation for a line that goes to the points -5, or 5, -1, and 4, -3. So now I know that if I have a slope and a y-intercept, I can write my equation. But the problem is I'm not given a slope or a y-intercept. So I think, what can I do? Right, I can find the slope because I'm given 2 points. So my slope would be my change in my y over my change in my x. My change in my y would be -1 minus -3. And my change in my x's would be 5 minus 4. -1 plus 3 over 1. -1 plus 3 is 2. So now I can say that my m is 2. And then I have a point. I actually have 2 points, and I have a slope. So what I can do is I can find my b by using one of those 2 points. I'm not going to use both, a combination of them. If I want to use both of them, then I can use one and check it with the other one. So I'm going to go 5, -1. I always just pick my first one, just because if I need a rule for myself, that's what it is. So I'm going to go y equals mx plus b. My slope is 2. My x is 5, and my y is -1. And then I have to solve for b. So -1 equals 10 plus b. And when I subtract 10, I get b equals -11. If I want to check it with the other one, then I can go y equals mx plus b. My slope is still 2. But now my x and y, my x is 4, and my y is 3, negative. And when I do the math on that, I have -3 is 6 plus b. Just kidding, 8. 2 times 4 is 8. When I subtract 8 from both sides, I have -11 equals b. Look, -11, -11, -11, perfect. Now I can make my equation. And my equation then is y equals 2x minus 11. Go ahead and try the next one. Remember, to find an equation for a line, you need 2 things. You need the slope and you need the y-intercept. Okay, pause the video and come back when you're ready. And I'm ready to move on, so I will. So m and b. In order, I don't see a y-intercept because no values for x are 0. I don't see a slope, so I have to come up with my slope. I know that I have 2 points, so I'm going to do my change in my y's over my change in my x's. My y say 7 minus 6, and my x's say -4 minus -2. So I have 1 over -4 plus 2, which is 1 over -2. Oh no, it's a fraction! It's okay. -1/2. You know, when you're going to graph these, you want it to be a fraction. So let's find b now. Y equals mx plus b. I always use the first point just because I need to have a rule for myself. So y is 7, m is -1/2, x is -4. I'm going to put it over 1 since 1/2 is a fraction as well, plus b. I know that this negative and this negative makes it a positive, so I know that I have a positive answer down here. So I could do one of 2 things. I can say 4 over 2 is 2, or I can cancel, and this goes into that twice, and I would have a positive 2 here. And then when I'm solving for b, I can say 5 equals b. If you use the other point, you'll also get 5 for b. So now I'm going to put my equation as y equals -1/2 x plus 5. Excellent. Half-life is our next video. Yay!